welcome to another edition of Anythink's live stream. I'm Ilani, I'm a creative lead here at Anythink, and this is Delaney from Craftsman and Apprentice in Denver. Hello. Today we're going to be talking about all things crafting and creating. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave it in the comments, and let's get started. So Delaney, can you tell us a little bit about Craftsman and Apprentice and also how you got started in DIY?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Craftsman and Apprentice is a heritage-inspired retail and craft workshop in Denver, and we do workshops and camps and classes for kids and adults. We also partner with libraries and schools to bring programming to the community so that it's accessible to all people. And it's been a great journey. We've been in business for about 4.5 years, and before that, I was an elementary school art teacher for 10 years.
Wonderful.
So it's in my blood. And before that, I have a degree in sculpture, and even before that, I started making all my own clothes when I was 8, and I was totally that kid in a cardboard box.
I can relate.
Yeah, totally. And my parents and my grandparents were always super supportive of that kind of DIY lifestyle. So just, if you can think of it, you should figure out how to make it on your own. And through my experience of working with kids as an art teacher, I just found that people are really happy when they're making things, and especially when they're making things with other people. And so we're really big on community and just that trial and error kind of mentality. So, which I love in the DIY community right now. It's like, just get scrappy and learn how to make something. And if you fail, you learn a lot from it.
Yeah, failure is not a bad thing.
No, it's amazing. And we try and teach kids and adults that through our workshops and classes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally relate. I mean, as far as DIY goes for myself, it's definitely in my family too. I mean, my mom was making all of our clothes when we were kids. I actually inherited my mom's sewing machine and my grandmother's serger machine.
Nice.
And it also kind of grew out of frugality too. Like,
totally.
You know, just not having the funds to be able to make or do the things that I wanted. So you figure out how to make them.
Yep.
So Delaney, can you tell me a little bit about some of the classes and workshops that you've got going on and some of the projects that you're passionate about right now?
Yeah, we have a lot going on at the shop right now. We're gearing up for winter break camps. So we have school break days at the shop, and so each day is a different DIY theme. So one day kids will be making their own snow globes using Sculpey to create all the miniatures inside, and then they'll epoxy them and put them together. We're even doing old school tin can lanterns. So we like to take craft traditions from, way back hundreds of years and kind of bring them to light for kids. So, we love this STEAM movement, but we also love kids being able to utilize everyday objects to create something new.
Totally.
And then we have a whole host of adult programming as well. So we're teaching stamp carving tonight at the shop. And so adults can come in and create and learn all about stamp carving and printmaking, and we're super passionate about printmaking at the moment. It's like, we always go through these DIY, craft du jour, and we got everybody at the shop gets super excited about learning how to do one thing, and right now it's totally been printmaking.
That's awesome.
Pom-poms were a big thing a couple months ago. Yeah, everyone's like, I'm going to make the perfect pom-pom. So tons of camps. We're doing a maker's market this weekend where we're going to be doing free felt ornaments with everybody out there.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit how you made these stamps?
Yeah, so I just brought a couple of ideas for everybody, because I feel like printmaking, you can get into it with limited resources, or you can go up to, buying your linoleum cut tools and all of that. But so starting at the most basic, I love cardboard prints. So all we do is just cut out and hot glue different cardboard pieces.
Easy.
You can,
I mean, everyone has those at their home.
Right, yeah, and it's free. Basically, just buy yourself a $4 low temp hot glue gun, and then the rest is free. So these are really great. They're really accessible for kids to create. They're not the prettiest or cleanest stamp in the world, so I'll hold this up. You can see, if your cardboard has corrugation, you're going to get that, but I kind of like that. It's
it adds a little bit of character to
it. For sure. Other things that we love to do with kids is kind of found object collage to make stamps. foam pieces make amazing stamps. So these you can get at the dollar store, and you can even get the sheets. You can cut shapes out, and then again just hot glue them to like a sturdy base. It doesn't have to be wood. You could use cardboard too. And these make great stamps. And the foam is nice because it takes ink. So if you just had a stamp pad rather than like printmaking ink, these are really great to make. This one is just popsicle sticks. So, you know,
love it.
yeah, just little wooden pieces. And then we were talking about this one. Styrofoam sheets are amazing printmaking material. And if you don't want to go out and purchase the like branded printmaking styrofoam meat trays are a classic option.
Yeah.
And
To-go containers.
Totally, and then you get that upcycle. You know, it's not going into landfill. You're at least getting one more use out of it before it heads out somewhere. One of the biggest things to remember about printmaking is if you're using words, you have to reverse the image.
Yeah, I think I've run into that before.
Yeah, for sure. We've all done it. There's always one person at every workshop, and we're like, oh. So you can always just stick to images so that you get that simplicity, and then the likelihood of success is that much higher.
That's awesome.
And then again, this one is a carved rubber stamp, so it's a little bit more. You can see
a little bit more definition.
Yeah, and so the way that I did this one is I just found an image that I liked on the internet, and I actually just traced it, no drawing skills required, and transferred it onto my block, carved it out, and then just adhered it to this. But these will last forever, these the rubber stamp stuff. And this is not, the like price of entry on the tools isn't crazy high, probably $20-25, and then you're in, and then you have it.
Yeah.
So, pretty fun. And we like the multi-generational approach to printmaking because you can do this with kids as young as 2, and adults get super into it. So if you're doing, you know, a family party or you just want to spend time together as a family, these kind of activities are really fun. Plus you can make your own stationery, gift wrapping paper, and all of that stuff.
Gift wrapping paper is a great idea.
Right? Yeah, you can get an inexpensive roll of craft paper and then just kind of go for it from there. So.
That's fantastic. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, my mom used to take like leftover vegetables that we'd use from cooking. So like the end of a celery, like after you chop off all the stalks, you kind of like dip that in paint, and then we would put it on t-shirts because we would make our own t-shirts. So we would have, it would look like a rose actually after you cut it and stamp it. So that's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, and if you do have veggies that are about to go, you can carve potato stamps, apple stamps, all of that. And even like pasta glued on can make an interesting mark. Like, mark making in general is just like a really simple and easy way of kind of creating in the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
We love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what other things do you print on? So did you print this tote bag right here?
No, unfortunately we didn't, but we do love printmaking on all sorts of textiles and objects. So you can make, you know, definitely fibers, fabrics, anything like that. We do fabric pennants with kids pretty often, and then you can add on other items, like if you want to stitch onto the print that you've made and embellish it. Yeah, totally. Like the sky's the limit, but you can always start with a printed image and then embellish that fabric and then just keep going on and on. So there's a lot there, which is really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, kids have been really into pennants and flags at the shop lately. We're making a lot of banners, which is another one that we love. And you can do that with scrap fabric that you have or old clothes that the kids have outgrown and kind of making an heirloom. You can always try that out. I think there's some photos on our Instagram of some banners that the kids have made. That one's another one that we love.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So here at Wright Farms at the studio, we've been doing a lot of work with 3D printers. And one of the things that I have personally been working on for my project has been 3D prints of terrain, and especially like mountains and stuff that I have like personal connections to. And this one is actually Winter Park. So it's kind of fun. You can kind of see like this is where 40 goes through.
That's so cool.
I learned how to like extract the data from Google Maps and 3D print the topography of the area. So with that, with like just hardware supplies, I just got like silicone caulking and made a mold from this 3D print, because a lot of people are like, oh, 3D printers, like they're really, really cool, but like what do I do with them?
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes a little bit of thought and creativity and try to figure out, what exactly to do with it. So I've decided to start making molds. And this one is, so here's the silicone mold here. And it's like flexible and stuff, so you could mold all types of materials. And I chose to mold plaster Paris, which is another very like cheap, affordable material that a lot of people just like have in their homes anyways. And I was able to make like a little like paperweight.
Cool.
So it's a lot of fun. And then also for the 3D printers, I've made cookie cutters, and especially since like this time of year, a lot of people are making like fun cookie decorations. That's always like a tradition of mine. So you can kind of design your own and like make it extremely personalized, and print your own cookie cutters here at on our 3D printers in our studio.
That's so cool.
And as far as like holiday crafts go, and other kind of like creating DIY stuff that we have going on, we have embroidery classes on Wednesday, December 12th at Anything Brighton. We also have at Anything Promac, we have create your own family holiday cards on Saturday, December 8th, which is tomorrow, I believe. Anything York Street, they've got a variety of simple craft projects that will also make excellent holiday gifts, and that's on Saturday, December 15th. And then here at the studio, like I've been touting with our 3D printers, we've got a variety of upcoming creation-based programs that include custom tote bags, wood photo transfers, and 3D printed tea lights. So we've got a lot of like really, really fun. Like,
how do you do the photo
stuff.
transfers?
So I know of a couple of ways to do it. Is you have to print it on a specific printer, and then you can use acetone. Like you turn it around. It's kind of like on here. You have to make sure everything's backwards. Like if there's words, you turn it over so the ink side is like face down on the wood, and then you put the acetone on the back of it, and it essentially like releases the ink from the paper so that it all goes onto the wood. So it's kind of
very cool,
fun and interesting.
Yeah.
What are some lessons you've learned in your DIY journey?
I think one thing that we've talked a lot about at the shop is kind of this, how to prepare yourself and your space to work, and making sure that you kind of have what you need. So we were talking about that space that you guys designed, or having a maker space or anything like that, but just giving yourself, even if it's just a little space in your home, somewhere to set yourself up for success, giving yourself the time, and also that mindset of just being exploratory and being in the moment, and that the process is the majority of like the purpose, right? Like we get really excited about our outcomes and we want everything to be perfect in our minds, but we talked about before, like setting yourself up for success, so you kind of like know what you might need or where you can pull from, but also just being in the moment, and then not feeling like if it doesn't work out, it's the end of the world. Like every time something doesn't look exactly like you wanted it to, it's a lesson.
Yeah, use that as a learning experience.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can tinker and explore and kind of modify and see what it is. And then, just being open to saying like, I tried. Yeah, check me out,
Yeah.
So I think that that's one of the biggest ones I've learned. And then the other one is just that, like, you don't always, and like, you can prepare your environment, but like, you don't need to go out and buy every supply under the sun and like say like, I'm now going to be, we might have a new craft obsession, but you don't have to be an expert on that. Like, to be a DIY dabbler is a great thing. So.
Awesome. I think we've got a question here. What's your most favorite project you've ever worked on?
Wow, that is such a big question.
It is.
I love that.
Favorites of anything are really hard questions for me.
I'm going to say just like my most recent favorite, because we all have these things. But in the spirit of talking about like collaboration and working in like a multi-generational approach, my son, who's 8, and his buddy were at the shop a couple weeks before Halloween, and they wanted to make castles, which is like a project that we do at the shop pretty frequently. We cut out cardboard pieces and we, hot glue a little cardboard castle together, and then the kids make miniatures and decorate. Well, it has turned into this like months-long project between me and my son, and we've created like the most epic miniature castle. And so, he makes pieces, I make pieces, like we make, I made like tiny gold frames with like tiny paintings in them and all this stuff. And so just giving ourselves the time to work together, I feel like this has been a really favorite moment of mine. And just seeing it all kind of come together and change as we continue to work on it. So
it's an ever-growing project. You guys are still working on it.
yeah,
It's
like it was
never
like a little
finished.
Halloween-y at first, and
Yeah.
it had, you know, like neon gems that were like the hot tub of doom. And then now we're starting to decorate it for the holidays. So it's like ever changing.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a fun way for us to connect. And
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, I think my favorite, that's a tough one. I have a really tough time with favorites in general. But I guess currently I've been doing a lot of home improvement DIY projects, which has been a massive learning process for me. I think my favorite one, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think my favorite one was learning to drywall, specifically because I learned that I never want to do it again.
So hard.
It's so difficult, and that's like kind of my frugal. It's my frugal self-talking, and then also like I just love collecting hobbies and learning things, and this was a very big learning experience for me.
Yep.
A very big. Definitely felt like a failure at times, I will say, and it definitely tests your relationships with your partners. It's kind of like DIY kind of also helps you respect other trades and people who are quite proficient in what they do, because there are certain, and drywalling is one of them for me.
We just remodeled our kitchen, and that's where we stopped. We were like, we put up one panel, and we were like, nope, we're going to call somebody in. Well, and that's so interesting, right? The DIY world, we feel like we could watch a YouTube video, and we all could like try and figure it out, but there is a level of mastery that we just can't get to
Yes.
from watching something
Yeah.
sometimes, and that's okay too, right?
Yeah,
like
it
giving it a
is.
shot and then realizing that, you know, maybe this one thing is something that is better suited to, you know.
Yeah, I've definitely started to calculate my time into those home improvement projects. I'm like,
Yeah.
so it would take me 200 hours to do this, or I could, get professional help for
But I
few
think that like
hours.
supports the community, the maker community too,
Yes.
right? Like you're like, I love weaving, but I'm not going to weave a huge textile, right? But I can also, become a patron of that art
Yes.
and, those types of things. I think that that's totally worthwhile.
Definitely, definitely. Do you have any other questions? Do you have any other comments or anything else you want us to let us know about yourself or Craftsman and Apprentice?
Just find us we do a lot of work with Denver Public Libraries and Denver Public Schools, and hopefully more here. But you can find our programming at craftsmanandapprentice.com.
Awesome.
And we got a lot of fun stuff coming up, and it's a busy time of year in the shop.
It
so.
is. It's a great time of year to get into DIY and crafting and,
Yeah.
really kind of giving from the heart too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back again next month with another live stream.